The choppy video. W.
Choppy video. All right. Well, video choppy.
Audio is incredible. Audio is good. W.
Audio's good?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just go through the facts, Ninjas. Hey guys, sorry for the delay, man. I literally, what ended up happening, chat? What ended up happening was a lot of shit happened. Let me get my notebook over here, okay? And I got Andrew recording, and look at Frank right here. Frank got his little NYPD
Best.
little NYPD vest. So, okay. So yeah, guys, sorry if it's a little bit choppy. I don't know why, but I'm gonna definitely make sure.
I think it's the service.
It's the service.
Probably, yeah.
Weird, because it has 4 bars. The internet is like all the way up. Maybe I'll try it on the other phone next time. But anyway, so okay. So let's go through behind me, guys. You can see the federal courthouse is literally right there. We're on 500 Pearl Street. Okay, you can see all the media, right, setting up and everything else from before. This whole thing, guys, when I came this morning,
Was packed.
it was lined up with people all over the place. Okay, and again, apologize for the choppiness of the video, but we're gonna give you guys what really went down because I was there in the courtroom. I watched everything happen. So the first thing you guys need to know is that press is everywhere, right? Literally, I came here at like 6. There was a line going down to the end of the block, okay? Absolutely wild. The other thing is that obviously this is a very high-profile case, guys. I would say this is probably going to be the most high-profile case in hip-hop history, at least for the next like 10, 20 years, easily, okay? You got someone here who literally ran the industry in the early 2000s. Anyone that's a little bit older is going to understand like how much power this guy had and how much influence. The trial obviously is for very serious charges. We're talking about sex trafficking, interstate trafficking. There's a bunch of violence syndicates, the violence, beating on the girl, arson, all this other stuff, right? And they talked about this in opening statement. So let's kind of go through. So as I was waiting there, the family showed up at around 9:30. Okay, I saw the whole family. It was like 20 of them, right?
He has twins.
Yeah, the light-skinned brother and then the dark-skinned brother. They came and they were all coming holding hands, showing solidarity and stuff like that. They showed up around 9:30. The judge finally showed up and addressed the court at around 9:35 a.m. All 6 AUSAs were there. There's 6 AUSAs on this case, guys. 6 prosecutors. That's unheard of, okay? I remember when I used to do my cases, big case, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. Maybe some other guys that helped, but there were 6 at the table, okay? 6 AUSAs at the table. Unheard of. Diddy had about 7 to 8 of his own attorneys there. Wild. He had 8 attorneys. Brian Steele was there too, which I'm going to talk about Brian Steele a little bit. Brian Steele, for those that are unaware, is the prosecutor, the defense attorney that got Young Thug off on his big RICO case a couple of years back. So the number one thing that they start, so right off the rip, the defense challenged the government because the government struck like 7 witnesses. And the reason why the government struck them, right, the defense alleged, they got rid of 7 black jurors. This is messed up because jury selection was today, guys. They have to finish up jury selection. So the way jury selection works, guys, is they have a bunch of jurors. They have like 45 of them, right? They need to whittle it down to about, I think, 12 to 18, right? They need 12 and then alternates, right? Now, the thing is that the government, right, when the defense was complaining, saying, they got rid of these jurors because they're black, the government actually had good reasons for why. Like, for example, one of them, son was like a gang member that did a significant amount of time. Another one was married to a guy who did a significant amount of time in prison. Another one got arrested for harassing a cop and lied. So a lot of people that were very questionable, okay, with these jurors. They lied during the void era. They lied about certain things about themselves. And then some of these jurors actually, like one of them, for example, which really stood out, he claimed that he would lose 30% of his income, but still wanted to be a juror. So the prosecution got rid of him because they were like, yeah, this dude has ulterior motives. Keep in mind, guys, very common where jurors will want to be on there just so they can write a book, so they can sell it to the news, right? So they can go ahead and make a bunch of money because doing this allows them to, really exploit the system because this is obviously a huge case. So what else? So it was at this point, right? So when the defense went ahead and said, hey, they struck 7 of our jurors because they're black. When the defense said that, the AUSA came and systematically rattled off why each of the jurors was dismissed. And they had good reasons, right? And that's when I kind of hit me. I was like, oh, God, like this AUSA, guys, the lead AUSA on this case, very fucking sharp. Like, you know, and I can tell, you know, because I've worked with literally hundreds of prosecutors when I was on the job myself. This prosecutor here, the one that's running this thing, she's very good. Very, very good. You know, which makes sense because obviously, you know, if you're an AUSA in the Southern District of New York, you're going to be one of the best, right? Keep in mind, guys, it's not easy to become a federal prosecutor, right? Typically, people work their way up. They become a defense attorney for a little bit, like a public defender, then maybe an ADA for the state. But it's very difficult to become an AUSA. Now, do you get paid the most? No, you can make more in the private sector. But the experience that you get from being an AUSA is unparalleled. Very hard job to get. And then this is one of the most prestigious United States Attorney's offices in the country. So she was very sharp, very, very sharp. Because obviously that's a very serious accusation to make because they obviously made sure to say, yeah, racism, 7 jurors that are black. And she went through each one why they disqualified him. One, criminal records, the guy that had that you know, was going to lose 30% of his revenue, but so they'll still stay. They thought that was a little weird. He also lied to them during the voir dire. Some of them had some issues with not being honest. So yeah. Anyway, so they got rid of him. So once they got this done, pretty much they seated the jury, guys. After they got that done, at 10:15 a.m. they had the jury seated. Okay. The judge gave jury instructions. He estimated this trial is going to take about 8 weeks. Okay. And they think that they're going to try to finish before July 4th. Is the goal.
Wow.
They want to finish before July 4th, but that's going to be difficult. He gave them basically instructions. You know, statements, arguments, objections are not necessarily evidence. Okay, it's their job to listen to the arguments and stuff and see who's more compelling. Also, spend a significant amount of time telling them to look at the way the witnesses tell the stories. Are the witnesses credible? That's what matters, right? Which I've explained to you guys. If you guys watch Fed Reacts, you guys already know. I tell you guys all the time about witness credibility. That is literally everything. If they get caught lying on the stand, they lose credibility, right? He talked about the witnesses that were going to come in. At this point, they kind of revealed who some of the key witnesses are going to be, okay? Which is going to be Cassie and a girl named Jane, okay? Basically, so let's see here. All right, so they went over the jury instruction, right? After the jury instruction, now we're going to get into opening statements. This is where shit gets crazy, all right? Now let me go ahead and check the chat, make sure everything is good. He's Frank. He's just.
Yeah.
Here, let me look at the chat here. And guys, if you got questions, go ahead and get your. I'm monitoring the chat, and I'm also going to be monitoring the super chats as well. So let me look here.
Say hi, Frank. Paw? Give me a paw. Paw? Frank, give me a paw. Hey, give me the paw.
Audio up.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to move the audio closer to me, and I'm going to speak louder, chat. I'm going to move it up. I'm just going to speak louder for you guys. Okay. So let's get into the opening statements, guys. So they seated the jury. Jury instructions are done. The prosecution overcame the defense trying to say that they're racist. Okay. Now let's get into opening statements. So with opening statements, guys, the prosecution goes first. And in the opening statements, their job is to outline the investigation, outline everything. So basically, you know, she goes right after. Now, again, this is not the same. This is not the lead AUSA. The blondie is the one that went ahead and gave these opening statements. I'll get her name for you guys, chat. But I will get it for you. But the blonde gave the opening statement. She did a really fucking good job. Really good job. So basically in it, she goes and talks about how it's 20 years of crimes. He didn't do it alone. He had a bodyguard. He committed arson, kidnapping, bribery, obstruction, and sex crimes. And then she goes into one night where he was hunting for Cassie because he found out that she was with another man. He abused and he sexually harassed her. And they talked about how he would basically, you know, have her have sex with other individuals and videotape it with escorts. Okay. So allegedly on one night, and they made sure to talk about this one night in the opening statements. Diddy, after seeing another man with Cassie, got his bodyguard, grabbed the gun, and went looking for her. Couldn't find her. Okay. And what ended up happening is they had one of the employees that worked for him And they broke into her house and told her, hey, I need you to do X, Y, Z. And she didn't want to do it. Eventually, she cooperates and they're able to track Cassie down. And what they basically said was, this happens all the time. Okay. They tried to illustrate him as a power-hungry, anger-driven, alcohol-fueled, drug-fueled boss that can't control his temper, working his employees to the bones, abusing them, utilizing his directors of staff, his bodyguard, etc., to conduct crimes. So, bold evidence show. He created an empire, Bad Boy Records, obviously in many businesses, as you guys know, for those that don't know, you know, obviously successful record label with Bad Boy. You couldn't avoid, you literally couldn't, you couldn't turn on MTV without seeing this guy in the early 2000s chat. This guy ran MTV in the 2000s. You know, in 2006, I think he ran the marathon. The guy was all over the place, right? In the early 2000s. Obviously, as you get later on into the 2010s, 2020s, he stepped back a little bit, but he was still behind the scenes making quite a bit of money. He was involved with Ciroc. He was killing it with producing, you know, being involved in many different projects, music videos, etc. So made a bunch of money. For those that don't know, guys, Diddy's a billionaire, okay? Billionaire, all right? So what they said was he basically relied on inner circle bodyguards, chiefs of staffs, guarded his reputation, got him everything that he wanted, to include drugs, sex parties with girls, escorts. He had a whole network of male escorts, bodyguards. Let's see here. He was employees to deliver the drugs. He transport women interstate and international for sex trafficking. And he would coerce them to do so. And then here is the star. Then the prosecution went into talking about who the two main witnesses are going to be. Cassie and a woman named Jane, who we met later on in 2020, okay? And this, honestly, we saw this coming. We knew Cassie was going to be the main witness, chat. I'm surprised she didn't hit the stand today, but I think she probably will tomorrow. So they go into Cassie, right? And with Cassie, they say freak-offs, where he would demand her to go to these, you know, hotels with him and have sex with random escorts, right? A lot of times without protection. And if she didn't, he would threaten to embarrass her, release the videos, destroy her career. Mind you guys, he met her when she was 19. He was her executive producer. Am I too close?
Yeah, you're getting closer. So I'm trying to keep you like.
Yeah, I'll stay right here.
Yeah, okay.
Shout out to you guys, SpartanAoues Angie, for filming this video.
Yeah,
so
they're saying like I'm putting the earthquake mode because I'm moving around.
Oh yeah. No worries. So and then they were dating for years, right? So they also talked about how Diddy made her turn down deals. He restricted her career. She would make music every day, but he would basically not put it out, right? And he told her, I don't want you to make music. I don't want you to work. He would give her money, lavish cars, lavish life, etc. But he used it as a means of control. This is what the prosecution is saying, child. Remember, I'm giving you guys the opening statements of what the prosecution is saying, and the prosecution is going to obviously, you know, paint him in a certain light. I'm going to give you what the defense says here in a second, right? He blackballed her albums, and he beat her. Another instance that they gave in 2009, he stomped her face in an SUV, and she had to sit in a hotel. She had to stay in a hotel for like a week or two because he beat her so bad. This is what was alleged in 2009. Basically, they got in an argument. He threw her to the bottom of an SUV, like on the floorboard, and fucking stomped her face. Also, she said the prosecutor, the AUSA, was saying how Cassie was booking escorts for freak-offs, okay? Once a week, they were doing this. And these freak-offs would last days, sometimes 3 to 4 days, so half a week. So once a week, 3 to 4 days of the week, she's on drugs, doing these freak-offs that would last somewhere between 1 hour to multiple days. And a freak-off, and she's like, what the hell's a freak-off? A freak-off, chat, is basically where it's like a sex capade. It's a sex party, basically. Okay, where he would bring, I wish you guys could see her face. She's basically back. So basically what these freak-offs were, guys, were he'd get a hotel, she would be there with him, as we're going to see later with one of the witnesses I'm going to explain to you. But basically, be a dark room. They'd have it set up in certain ways with certain lights, with themes, all this other stuff. Baby oil all over the place, right? The baby oil was there. Astroglide, all this stuff, lubricant. And he would hire escorts, and he would be sitting there watching as she was having sex with these male escorts. And he'd be in the corner, you know, kind of gooning, you know, goon Diddy in the house, right? So This is what, of course, this is what, again, this is what the prosecution, I want to stress here, this is what the prosecution is alleging, Tom. Okay? Let's see here. So they were doing this once a week. Now, they're also claiming he would beat her if she did. He beat her over and over if she didn't answer phone calls, if she wasn't obedient to him, if she doesn't listen to him, he would beat her. If she took too long in the bathroom, he would beat her. And he would also beat her if she left the freak off parties without telling me. So let's see here. He threatened to destroy her career. They also allege that if she didn't listen to what he said, he threatened to destroy her career and release the videos, which is interesting because we're going to get into what the defense says here in a second, okay? Because they have a counter to this. He told her to do a freak off. She couldn't say no. They both had a bad relationship, but only Diddy had the power. Basically, there was jealousy and vitriol in this relationship for a very long time. It was a very strong love-hate relationship. Let's see here. Okay, now let's get into Jane. He met Jane in 2020. She was a single mom. Basically, she wanted a real relationship, but it never ended up getting there. Okay. He introduced Jane to freak offs. On the day that he introduced her to freak offs, basically said, hey, they had done some drugs and they had sex all night and everything. And he said, hey, you want to do a freak off? She's like, oh, that sounds interesting. That day, he didn't even wait. He got he got an escort and they did a freak off that day. And he has like this whole thing of male escorts, by the way. He has like 3 or 5 of them that he deals with. Yeah, crazy. So basically, and then from that point forward, they just kept doing these freak offs. And for her, now what the prosecution is saying is they're saying that she wanted something more and she did it to make him happy. And the guys often wouldn't wear condoms. She would be drugged. She vomited one time while hooking up. And he told her to hurry up and smash another escort. So she was hooking up with one guy, right, on drugs, MDMA, because he would often give them MDMA so they could stay up all night. She vomits, goes to the bathroom in between the session and vomits. He says, hey, hurry up, and then tells her to go do the next guy. Yeah, crazy. I wish I could see Angie's faces with this.
Okay. I'm speechless.
So let's see here.
They said all that today?
Yeah, this is all today. This is just opening statements for the prosecution.
Wow.
Okay, let me look at chat real fast.
That's wild.
Can you see the chat or no?
Yeah, I can.
You can't see what they're saying? Okay. You see what these ninjas are saying?
They're just trolling.
They're just trolling? So,
Gas6969 said, is there any chance Diddy can be free? If so, how?
Well, wait till I get to the defense. Because guys, both sides are... Diddy has a good defense team. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. He has a very good defense team. Ryan Steele was cooking today, one of the witnesses, and I'm going to talk to you guys about that as well. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. So, all right, Frank, come back over here, buddy. Frank, hey, up. Good job.
He's having a blast watching people play here, the guys play here.
Frank, sit. Good job, buddy. Give me a paw. 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 Good job, Frank. Stay. Stay. Good job. Okay. So, back to it. Let's see here. So, same thing with Cassie. Diddy also planned to show the videos to Jane. The relationship with Jane though was never public chat. There's a private relationship. He got her a house. She didn't have to work. And he got her a car also. But